This is a podcast about living out of intimacy, a conversation over coffee about a living God whose desire is to live out of you. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us. I'm Jason Goodson.
And I'm Johnny Taylor.
And this is Coffee and Conversations. JT, here we are back again, upstairs.
Still in the office.
Still in the office.
We didn't move this time.
No, it seems like every time we
take a break,
take a hiatus, we come back to a different place.
Yeah,
but not this time around. It's been almost a year.
Last April.
Yeah, we had decided we were going to take a break until school was out, and that break turned out to be a year. So we never know how it's in there going to turn around. But I'd much rather take a year off and do what God has called us to do. And, if this is the right time, then this is the right time. And we just move forward with that. And so that makes me happy and it makes me excited. So I'm glad we're up here doing it and having a chance to do it again.
You have to excuse me tonight. I may cough and stuff like that, but I'll survive. So
it's a bit, the weather's been a bit nervy around here. So a little cold, up and down.
Cold one day, warm the next.
Yeah,
you never know.
Typical Texas weather. It's what it feels like anyways.
Walked out at about midnight last night. It was warm. Walked out this morning. I was like, whoa.
Quite a different change in temperature. You're right. It's kind of cold. So, yeah, it's been a year. Man, I don't think I thought about it too much after we stopped last time, but
life is just moving fast.
We are stinking busy.
It's true about what they say about when you get older that time moves faster.
Right.
It definitely does.
It does. You're right. I mean, literally when school started back after the summer was over, summer was busy enough as it was. And when school hit back and football started, we started a little new adventure. It's always an adventure, isn't it, JT?
We expanded our broadcasting quite a bit.
Yeah. The local high school team here that in the city of Mineola has done really well in football. And there's been an open opportunity for us to really broadcast football and really any sport that we want to up to this point.
We've covered some volleyball.
Covered volleyball and football. And hopefully my goal is I'd love to get some baseball in this year. That'd be fun to do. I don't know.
It's pretty fun broadcasting for the number 2 team in the state. And they were number 1 for most of the year.
Yeah, number 1 for most of the year. Made it back to the semifinals once again. And were defeated by the eventual state champions, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
But you can't take away their success for the last 2 years. But it was one of the coolest things to be able to cover them and do play by play and really just have a inside track on those boys and the football team and the coaches, the community here. And, we've had several opportunities to do things. And, our local radio station here has always been so good, as well. And we just, have just been blessed, I guess, to be able to do some really cool things. And I like, this form, this medium, this mass communicating that we're doing is.
Of course, we expanded into video for the football.
And that was it. Yeah. That was another interesting detail of it because you add another dynamic into it. And, JT flashed me with the camera a few times unexpectedly. But some good stuff happened throughout the year and looking forward to maybe expanding that some and hopefully and doing what we can do to help provide a service to the local community. And so it's been fun. That's been a ton of fun. I had a lot of good response to it as well. And, good stuff.
Yes. Somebody's got $100,000 laying around. We could use some funding, but other than that, we're in good shape.
I've had several people say, you got to go a GoFundMe page. I'm like, why does that feel like the most selfish thing that anyone could ever do? Hey, we need this. GoFundMe. Will you fund me on this? Well, it may be.
There's been companies raise millions of dollars to start up.
That's crazy, man. But I guess you have to know the right people, and people want to invest and help out.
Yep.
That's always a good thing. So who knows? Maybe we will. That being said, a year has passed. And I know this is going to sound crazy for you who are listening. But I tell you, once we finished that last podcast and moved on into the summer and life got moving forward, man, stuff just started happening, and
crazy is a good way to
it just I wake up and all of a sudden it's December and going into January, and we threw a mention in here. We hadn't done a podcast in a while, because JT and I had literally hardly seen each other in a while too. So that's and we live in the same city. So
well, I saw you for games, and that was about it.
Yeah, it was kind of that was it. Yeah, that was the another thing. It was the motivating part of that whole deal. So Coffee and Conversations back up though, and we did post tonight on our Facebook page, and so we just recommend that you go back and check those things out and like that. And we're on Twitter as well. Everything we post there shows up on Twitter, and it looks like it says live, but we're not actually live. It's Wednesday night. It's late. It's a podcast. But anytime you open it up and listen to it, it's right there, ready for you to listen to. Well, on the whiteboard tonight, simple. We have live, but it's not really live. It's live. And John 10:10 is the verse that goes along with that. And I don't know, probably just expressing to JT before we started this whole thing, and that's probably the most I've been able to rant in a while. So, and not really rant, but just to share with JT life and what's going on with my life and things that are happening, and us sharing together. And so there really wasn't a specific thing, so to speak, as far as topic wise, but just to catch up on what's been going on. And I tell you what, it's, and simply said, from my perspective and the things that have been going on, I really just have been in a part of my life where almost the struggle on the inside and the struggle on the outside and all the things that I've been dealing with. And I mentioned this earlier to JT, was that almost the things that I'm trying to control outside have really no bearing or no weight, and really have no consequence on the truth about who I am in Christ Jesus on the inside and how that matters. The influence of that, I can tell you, I've over 23, I'll say 23 years ago now, I got to a point where I decided that there was, and the way I say that always makes me laugh. I decided that I didn't know God because I didn't understand, have an understanding of that. But I was also at this point in life where I was really a religious dude. I loved God and had a really fascinating, what I thought was a fascinating relationship with God. But as the years have gone by, and I'm still 20 something years into this experience in this relationship with Christ, that it looks totally and incredibly different than it did back then. And
good thing we didn't know where we were going back then.
Awesome. Yeah, it's certainly. And to tell you that the thoughts that have gone through my brain in the last 2 months have been almost the crucifying of that whole thing.
Yeah.
In a sense. And I don't know any better way to explain it than to say that the striving on the outside it brought me to a point of just pure, almost I guess I could call it depression, or a darkness, or this it caused me to retreat, in a big way, in the sense of just dealing with the things around me, God, and doing all these things externally, and caring about that, and wanting to be a better person, wanting to do all these things that I still, 21 years later, that I still quite hadn't figured out, and finally going, well, who cares, at this point, what does that look like? How does that make any type of sense? Or I don't know. That's a good question. So, I think this whole deal, has brought me down to the point where just a big fight on the inside was going on with me, spiritually speaking. Then it just broke down to, we was reading scripture too earlier, and I was reading out of Philippians, and some things just really clicked on the inside, because Paul, he had so much going on, that even in the midst of a Philippian jail where he's shackled in chains, he was doing what you and I need to be doing at all times, in all ways, in every shape, form, and fashion, whether in need or whether whether having plenty or whether being poor. He was content. He was simply living life. And I tell you what, the convicting part of that is the fact that my pursuit of life was external in a big way, without just sitting back and enjoying what was there ahead of me, no matter what the situation is in life. So anyways, in a short snippet, that's kind of a condensed version of what JT heard earlier, but there's so much there as well, that I want to say, but it's, how do you say it without, how do you say it without just being just blunt about it? I don't know how else you'd go around doing that.
Well, I'll tell you how serious the conversation was my conclusion anyway was 35 years tomorrow. I will have been a Christian for 35 years tomorrow. And I told Jason, I'm not sure I've learned how to live yet. And 35 years, it's a good bit of time.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of time, actually. Yeah.
So, but that's also part of the point of the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Because I get so connected with trying to do what you're talking about.
Hunting for it. Chasing life.
Yes.
Sometimes life is chasing us. Or what we think is life. That's the thing. And I like this illustration a lot. It's like a dog that chases its tail in a circle. Yeah.
It's trying to catch what he's already got attached to the body.
Yep.
And it's like, I've been that dog chasing myself, what stupid dog down there doing that for? What did they do that for?
He's intrigued by what he's chasing.
He's chasing, man. He's chasing.
And he thinks he needs it. I guess.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, but my whole thought process on that is, that's me. And I get back, I laugh at myself at that time because I'm sitting there chasing it, and it's already there, no matter whether the good or the bad.
Yep.
Or whether I have money to pay bills or not. Whether I have all the things that life says or the world says I'm supposed to have to be a successful man, and we forget about the little things that are life-giving. That's life-giving. And man, it's not something that I can control.
How can my cup overflow with life if I don't live?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like a total. I'm telling you, the last 3 weeks have been a revelation, and that whole thing as well. For me, pure revelation. But I think our society misses out on simple living. And I'm not talking about being a tree hugger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to bash tree huggers in the sense of being a tree hugger, but what I'm saying is,
well, it comes down to the fact that life exists, no matter who you are,
right?
What you're doing, your situation in life. If you're in Christ, then life exists,
right?
And it's there to live.
Exactly.
Not something way off out yonder. I was just thinking about me in the last few months. I was telling Jason, just depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I mean, and I've gotten in my life. I always know it comes to pass. It's going to go away. I just got to wait it out, you know. But it seemed like there was a time here around Thanksgiving all the way through Christmas. Just, this is not going away. It's like, okay, I'm going to go home Thanksgiving, be change of scenery. That'll help now. But the fact that true life was not any different in that.
Right.
True life. The true life I have did not change in that.
Right.
And I think that was the main reason it was there, was for me to think on.
Right.
Because every now and then the scripture says Selah.
Yeah.
Think on these things.
Right.
And realizing that life is not being depressed.
Right.
And it's not being depressed. It's
right.
neither one of those.
Right.
And that's very hard to explain.
It's in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is in the present moment. Book I read, or read part of at least, Richard Wurmbrand.
Mm-hmm.
Was a pastor in Russia when
Yeah.
Russia went communist, and he ended up in prison for something like 17 years, and 3 of those were in solitary confinement where he didn't speak to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm talking no guard, nobody. Didn't see anybody, nothing. And yet the things he came out of there
Mm-hmm.
pretty much almost went crazy during that time, but the things God did, and for him to say he wouldn't trade that time.
Wow. Yeah.
And it probably didn't seem like it in the moment, but he was living.
Yeah.
He wasn't existing, he was living. Because life was not the circumstances.
Right. Nothing. That's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. Nothing you can do could really make that. I mean, to understand that it's a part of exactly what we're doing. I mean, it's something that can't be taught.
Nope.
It can't be experienced unless I think you have to go through.
You have to get detached.
You have to go. Yeah, it's like it's almost the layers being peeled back so much and being removed, but you also have to go through that period of time and almost and for me it's been almost a crisis of faith type thing, in that sense. And for myself, because it was the learning to trust in the midst of the junk.
No trust.
Yeah, in the midst of no trust, like almost to the point of panic.
Quit trusting in my trust.
Exactly. Yes.
Quit trusting in my faith.
Right. Yeah.
That's the tough one.
that'll wear you out thinking about it. But it's true. I mean, almost to the point where I was almost scared that it was gone.
Yeah.
Fearful that it was gone, even though peaceful at the same time.
Of course, if it was gone, you wouldn't care.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's where it's like I'm trying to get to that point where just being okay in that moment. You know, we always talk about being okay with that, being okay with not being okay type stuff. And it's really, when you're facing that and you talk about it and you're facing it, it's right there. And that's when it, man, it's tough. It's real. It's like,
I'm not going to walk up to somebody in the middle of deep, dark depression and say, but you've got abundant life. Get over it. That's not the time. But
yes, I understand what you're saying. Totally.
But this is the thing. I believe that Jesus said what Jesus said when he said he came that we might have life and have it more abundantly.
Right.
I don't think that's a maybe you'll have it. I think he's given us life.
Right.
Because it's himself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We have abundant life. It's not something that's waiting on the other side of a trial, on the other side of a tribulation. We have it.
Exactly.
And we have it whatever's going on at the moment is part of it.
Right.
It's not separated from it. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where faith lies. That's where trust.
Mm-hmm.
In my deepest, darkest, worst moment, life is just as abundant as in my happiest moment.
That's right, because it has not changed. All right.
Yeah, it has not changed. Because he never changes. Changes not. No shadow of changing.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
And that's what we don't understand. His life is him in us.
Yeah.
Made one with us.
Right.
The relationship.
Right.
Not the religious practice.
The religious practices, yeah.
Religion will do you no good.
It'll just piss you off.
It'll kill.
Sorry for the word, but that's the truth.
It'll kill you. It'll kill the life. It'll hide the life. It can't kill the life in you.
Yeah.
It will hide it. It'll make you feel like you're dead.
Right. It's hard to, and I was telling JT this earlier, it's hard to count that as pure joy as he does, as he says, as James writes that in the book of James.
Count it all joy.
Count it all joy when you face these times. What?
Count it all Jesus.
Exactly.
Count it all life.
Yeah. Literally.
Count it all life.
Yeah. And that in itself is, that's partly the thing that holding on to, been ripped away, is the fact that I don't want to count that all life.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
You want it to go away.
Because you want it to go away. But it's like, at the same time, I guess my eyes have never been more open to him in me in that sense, because not that I'm grander or more mature or I have this special, thing going on the inside, but I'm just saying for real, like in the dark moment when those moments strike and that's there, it's as if his presence was just as sweet tasting as ever has been before, although I could not remove myself from the situation.
Yeah.
Understand? Yeah. I mean, and no matter what it was almost as if my, this life transforming event was going on the inside at the same time. And it freaked me out, and I was telling JT, I was just reading scripture and going through, and things Paul was saying was just making me so upset, because here's this guy, he's in the midst of all this junk. He's been beaten. He's had the rod taken to him. And he's, these people he has had interaction with in Philippi. And I was thinking to myself, gosh, man, how does he continue on through that? And he counts it all joy. He's like, it's just amazing. Oh, and that's, I guess part of that to me is too, it's him understanding that whole transformation himself.
Yeah. Because there was times when he didn't see it.
Yeah, absolutely. His own little, whatever crisis of faith that he had in Romans 7 was as big a part of his transformation in life as anything else. And, man, just seeing the,
and here's one of the really tough things. Trying to get to that point.
Yeah. Oh, don't.
Is the pursuing of life somewhere else. That's not living.
Oh, right. I don't believe me. I don't think I opened the door and asked for this.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know I didn't open the door and ask for it, because it hit me like a ton of bricks at the wrong moment, almost, is what I'm feeling like but it was at the right moment at the same time. Physically out here, though, it was at the wrong moment, It's like, full retreat. I've got to go. But it was like, at the same time, the most perfect moment, because I hadn't cared about a whole lot in the last month and a half, probably 2 months in that sense. But at the same time, I've just been able to breathe and live through it right now and do the things that I need to do because of the life that I do have. It's not something that I can just pour out and walk away from.
Yeah. It's funny because I was just thinking on the thing of, we get upset at ourselves if we're not compassionate about something, or passionate about something, or we don't have compassion for somebody way off in another country, or we don't have empathy for somebody. We pursue those things thinking those things are life, and we manufacture them. We might have an emotion of those. Mm-hmm. They don't do people any good.
Right.
Our work, those are our works. They're not God's compassion. They're not God's caring. I'm sorry.
No, I totally see what you're saying. I mean, you describe, it's like an open book here.
It's the things I see where God uses people the most is when they don't even realize it, because they're not focused on being something or doing something.
Right.
They're living.
Right.
And God uses. Mm-hmm. Because life flows out.
Right.
And this is a silly illustration, but I think it works somewhat. It's like all the things I see on Facebook, all the people griping about something that other people should care about and mad because other people don't care.
Right.
And they're not doing any good. It's all about feeling good about themselves. Yeah. For the most part. And that's how we are with trying to, quote, be godly.
Right. Yeah.
Quote, be a good Christian. And we can work up the emotion for other people.
Right.
But our emotion for other people does absolutely no good.
Right.
It only leads to more disappointment. because in the end, it's not even if the other person seems to be helped, it's not fulfilling.
Right.
Other
Right.
than to our ego.
Oh. I've got so many trails my mind is going down right now. Literally, like it's, I mean, just so many thoughts on that because.
So that's the thing.
It's almost.
I don't want to worry about why I'm
Exactly,
doing stuff. I just
right.
want to live.
I just want to live.
I want to drink up that life,
Right.
and then as God sees fit, that life overflow whether I see it or not.
Exactly.
But my focus cannot be on trying to make it overflow. I can't tip the cup over. I'm a little teapot.
But to show this stuff.
See, there we're taught from kids.
Yeah. It was almost, I was trying to think there, that I don't want to, I don't want to discourage you from your pursuit of God and your relationship with God, but I want to tell you to keep living in whatever it is you're at, wherever you're at, wherever you're at right now in life. Be you. Like, yes, that's what I'm thinking. Is like, I don't care how spiritually mature you are or not. I don't care how much you've read the Bible in the last year or not, or how much you've prayed in the last month or not. I think just living in, I can tell you this, even in the midst of the last month and a half, my thoughts of God have not fleeted in those times, because how else do I get through this without that? Because he's my life.
Yeah, he's pursuing me.
Even in the things that I don't want to mention live on this radio.
Yeah.
That would cause you to have disgust for me.
And we all have those.
And pick yours, whatever it is. And even in the midst of that disgust, even in the midst of the dark, I'm just telling you, my thought has never been wavered that he is good and that he loves me.
Yeah.
It's never been wavered.
Yeah.
It's always been the fact that, man, I want to pursue that out here so bad, though.
Yeah.
It's just that there's not life in that at all.
No matter how good it looks.
No matter.
And
no matter how religious it looks, no matter how worldly it looks, no matter how, I mean, what was it? 1 billion? How many billions of dollars was it? You were talking about
$1.6 billion.
The
lottery.
Lottery. Oh. Man, I would have been one depressed billionaire if I'd have won that.
Yep.
Still.
Mark Cuban had great advice.
I like what you got to say there.
He said, if you're not happy today, you won't be happy tomorrow if you win. It won't change. Money won't do it. And he ought to know.
Yeah. That's coming from somebody who has it. So I don't know. I just think it's
just thinking on the living thing.
Yeah.
When you're living, there's no difference in praising God and screaming at God.
Yeah.
There's no difference because you're being real and you're living.
It's good.
Because to not scream at God but feel like it, there's not really any difference in that either. You just aren't living
right
in the moment and realizing it's part
right
of what's going on.
It's good. He says, John 10:10, the thief comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. He says, I've come that they may have life. That they may have it more abundantly.
So the thief is trying to kill, steal, and destroy life.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
No,
May convince you he can, but he can't.
no. And we'll give him all the credit for trying.
Oh, yeah.
He's,
We're a lot better at it than he is.
oh, thought it. I was going to say, I'm pretty good at stealing my own.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's probably standing back off out there and we're doing something. He's like,
man,
dang, I wish I'd have thought of that.
man, he's better at it than I am. Oh, man. That's so funny, man. Yeah. I like it. His following verse is good too, though, because I like he continues on. He says, "I'm the good shepherd." Jesus speaking here.
Yes.
The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep.
He's given us life.
Yeah.
Not just dying on the cross.
Yeah.
Life has been given. We've already received.
He's given life. And plus, faith, relationship, however you want to use that term for it, your relationship with God is, through those things is reality, is the gift of life. No matter what.
The realization of that life.
Yes.
That we don't just contain.
Yes. Right.
But we have been intermingled with.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We live. That is our life. Christ, who is our life.
Life. Oh, yes. That's good too. Mm.
So much good stuff.
Yep. And the funny thing is, and the good thing is, which I'm looking at there, is that you're going to know his voice as his child.
Yeah.
You're going to know it. And you're going to know, even in the midst of the junk, his life is there. It's
yeah. And
no matter what.
It's funny that he even says in John there that the false shepherd will come as a wolf and will scatter the sheep.
Right.
Didn't say he'd kill the sheep.
Yeah.
Said he would scatter the sheep. But the shepherd is there still.
Right. Right.
It's the reason the wolf didn't kill the sheep.
Exactly right.
And the scattering was on purpose.
Yes. Yeah. It was not of just happenstance.
No.
So anyways, I really feel like that's where, at the moment, that's sort of where we're at here as far as,
Yeah, we were talking earlier. We probably told you to pursue life before, but
yeah,
we could probably go back in our podcast and find
where we said pursue life. And
in some sense,
I'm not so against telling you to pursue life, but I'm just saying,
just make sure you realize it's right here.
Yeah, like
It's
you're
not
living
out there in
it.
those things.
That you're living
You may
it.
go out and do those things,
Yeah. Right.
but they're only a part of life. They're not life itself.
And please don't get weighed down by doing external things to make you happy, because they do not. I'm telling you, I'm testimony of that right now, man. I'm telling you, I am.
Not even good ones.
Hey, yeah, exactly.
Not even things that seem sacrificial for
Man,
other people.
Listen, and I'm not saying that, help the old lady across the street, please.
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying. It's not, don't hear us saying the moral things, what we're talking about. If you're trying to find life in those things, it's not going to happen. You may feel better for the 10 minutes that you did it and walked away from it, but ultimately the life is contained in the one who has replaced your life.
Yes.
It's his life, ultimately. And I'm telling you, I've got a lot of opinions that I can sling around right now, but I might want to save those for later. I'm just thinking that no matter what, though, life is all about being you
Yes.
and living in the moment.